All right, so we started watching this. I started watching this during the stream because there was nobody here. Nobody here. So I started watching this, and I want to properly react to it, but I was in a bit of a rush. So this is by Tim Cast IRL Tim Pool video. All Democrat video proves conservatives were right about LGB slippery slope. And honestly, let's be real. I think any normal sane person could see this coming. You know, you give an inch, they take a mile, yada yada yada. Now the topic of gay marriages comes into here, and honestly, I'll tell you right now my opinion on it. Personally, I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit because I don't hold marriage to pretty much any standard in this day and age. It's just a business contract between you put business in front of your relationship. That is literally what marriage feels like right now. So I personally don't care. If you still believe that marriage is like sanctimonious and it's your swearing your love and devotion in front of God, like your religious and stuff, I completely agree with you. Based on your viewpoint, why gay marriage is a sin. Personally, I think marriage has been, it's nice for you to hold the tradition of marriage, like the traditional idea of what marriage is, but the whole world kind of moved on from it, okay? Also, like the whole idea of like marriage being like a Christian thing or like in front of God, which God, the Christian God, kind of also doesn't make sense to me when I put into perspective of like other countries that don't believe in Christianity also have marriage, literally, and it's called marriage. It's not called anything else. It's called marriage, right? Chinese have marriage, Japanese have marriage. Like, and again, yes, there are Christian, Japanese, and Chinese people, but I'm saying like, as a whole, for the culture, there was always marriage, regardless of Christianity. So, I could be wrong about that, but honestly, that's basically like what it looks like to me. I don't know the whole history of marriage. For me, I'm not a God believer. I don't believe in God. So for me, marriage is literally just a contract. So in that regard, I really don't care if you're gay and you're married and you signed a contract, or if you're straight. Right now, that being said, we all knew that once you give an inch, people will take a mile. Now, I'm not saying the people who were advocating, the original people who were advocating for like gay rights and gay having the right to marry and yada yada yada. I'm not saying that those guys were radicals, but it's very easy to hijack a movement that is already in motion, right? And even calling it hijack is not really accurate when you have the whole Democratic Party voting no for the issue of men and women's sports and not recognizing biological differences. So there's absolutely no way that the whole Democratic aisle has been hijacked by radicals, right? Like, this is like the probability of it is like really fucking low. So what is actually going on here, right? Is it like a stick it to the man because Trump wants, doesn't want men and women's sports, so we're gonna stick it to the man, like he's not gonna get what he wants. We're gonna wait until like Democrats are in power to actually move things forward. What is this, child's play? You're literally playing with people's lives here. It's kind of fucked up. But anyways, let's see what this is actually about. Obviously, I covered some of the topics, but not all of them.
We were talking quite a bit about, Trump's administration being Democrats and liberals moving left going crazy. So I was reminded of this video. We're going to do a special segment here just because I pulled it up and I think it's hilarious. This is a video from 2008, I believe. It's called Prop 8, the musical. Many of you may have seen. It's got 1.2 million views on, it's 15 years ago, so it's probably, I'm pretty sure it's 2008 because Prop 8 was in 2008.
Sacramento Community College players, by the way. So this is California.
So this is the liberal worldview 15 years ago, and it's only 3 minutes long. I'm not going to play the full thing. Well, I mean, we'll just play it, and then we'll talk about where Democrats were back then, what they claimed, without burying the lead. Basically, you have that meme where it says, if we pass gay marriage, if we enact these liberal policies, conservatives warned back then that you'd get these creepy books in schools.
Okay.
And Democrats said it was not true, it was never going to happen. And now here we are. So let's
Here we
play
are.
some of this real quick so you guys get the context.
With that Jack Black and Jesse Raleigh.
Sure. Yep, absolutely.
It's a brand new bright Obama day. What a time to be black, a girl,
Or gay.
No, nothing could go wrong. So join love, happy days for the gays. Nothing can go wrong.
Look, nobody's watching. It's time to spread some hate and put it in the Constitution.
Now, how?
Proposition 8.
Proposition 8, great! People listen to our plea.
Prop 8, known informally as Prop 8, was a California ballot proposition and a state constitutional amendment intended to ban same-sex marriage. It passed in the November 2008 California state elections and was later overturned by the court. So the people voted against this, which is very interesting, and the proposition was then overturned by the courts. The position was created by opponents of same-sex marriage in advance of the California Supreme Court's May 2008 appeal ruling in remarriage cases, which found the ban in 2000 on the same-sex marriage unconstitutional. Is it unconstitutional? I mean, I'm not obviously I'm not a constitutional lawyer. I'm not a lawyer at all. But is it actually unconstitutional? Like, is marriage part of your rights? Like, is marriage actually a right? I thought it was a privilege, but whatever.
They'll teach kids about
Sodomy.
So, just right there,
Yeah.
right away,
Yeah.
it's important context to what the liberals were saying back then, and how they were lying. It's really fascinating, right? There's a little bit more. Listen to how they respond.
that wasn't right, that's a lie. But it worked, so we don't care.
So it wasn't a lie, and it didn't
Yeah.
work
Right.
because they still got. Well, I think it did. Prop 8 pass, or was it defeated?
Prop 8 passed and then got overturned, yeah.
It's been a long time.
I think it was defeated, and then
Yeah.
didn't the Supreme Court come in or something?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was in California, right? California
yeah.
voted a very, very large margin against Prop 8.
Right.
And then the Supreme Court of California came in and said, no, you can't. So it literally went against the will of the people of California.
I just really want to screen grab that caption where it says, "That's a lie," because here we are now dealing with the fallout of how there it is. That wasn't right. That's a lie, and it's literally what happened. And this is a big component of the culture war. And you know, I was thinking about Obama voting for him, what he was supposed to bring about. Race relations got worse under Obama.
Yep.
DEI's rapid
Which
expansion.
is kind of weird. It's like, how is racism on the rise when you had a black president? Like, that makes absolutely no sense to me. You know, that's so weird. It's so weird.
further exacerbating tensions between various races.
It's like,
They were wrong about everything that they claimed conservatives were lying about. And now here we are. Donald Trump ends up winning as a Republican with Tulsi Gabbard, RFK Jr., Elon Musk.
all of them Democrats, yes. Originally Democrats. Now, technically, they're still Democrats. It's just that the Republican Party moved so far left from where they were that they are effectively the Democrats of like the 90s. But yeah.
Many others who were former Democrats who largely believed this BS.
Yeah.
And then sure enough, what ended up happening is they put these creepy books in schools. They started having men compete against women. And no matter what you say, Democrats keep defending it, despite the fact polling shows only around 18%
Yeah, it's fucked
approval
up.
for males competing against females in sports.
It's a losing
Democrats
problem. It's like
sodomy
it's a losing
is
statement.
actually the
Yeah.
low stuff. Like, yeah, well, you know, man, that's
It
not,
almost seems
yeah, like that's
reasonable
isn't
at
it
this point
quaint?
compared to the rest of the
Yeah, isn't it
agenda.
quaint
Yeah.
that they were like teaching about sodomy? No, what they're going to do is they're going to teach your kid to chop their genitals off.
Yeah.
Yeah, but could
Yeah,
you
sodomy is nothing compared to that, obviously. But yeah, and it's like, oh well, that's not true. Kids are not getting the genitals cut off. I think we've seen plenty of women cutting off their breasts. Okay, so to think, and like, even if that is not happening now, which probably it is. I'm not gonna draw receipts, but like, let's be real, it probably is. And if it's not happening yet, just by the fact that women are already cutting off their breasts, you know it's coming. You know it's coming.
imagine
And-
if they
and
said that
Grindr with
back then,
12-year-olds.
they'd be like, okay, please stop. You're nuts.
Look, I
Yeah.
mean, look at the Bill Maher and I forget what his name is.
John Lovett.
No, Bill Maher had the conservative guy Prager. Dennis Prager was on.
Oh, right.
Dennis Prager was like they're talking, they're teaching.
They're putting tampons in the men's
they're
bathroom.
teaching that boys can menstruate, and
Yes,
Bill Maher and the whole Democrat
Tampon Tim?
the whole panel was like,
I can't believe people like actually thought Tampon Tim was a good choice for vice president. I mean, that Kamala was. I honestly think that she didn't have any choice. Like, they just had to run with it because Joe Biden just completely screwed them over. But honestly, I don't see them winning with anyone else realistically. Like, everyone in the Democratic Party is literally insane at this point. Like, based on like 1960 standards, they would be clinically insane. Okay, back when you could say retard and it was just like a medical term. Right, so at this point, like I think the like Democratic Party is literally just like practically everyone there, right? Maybe there's a few normal ones, but they're like literally clinically insane based on like slightly older standards.
Yeah.
And
you're so silly.
You're so silly.
that
You're so
story,
crazy. Yeah.
that story at the time on Bill Maher's Real Time, and this is my biggest problem with Real Time. It is I don't know why.
Not to say that there are no Republicans who are clinically insane, okay? I'm just talking about the Democratic Party right now.
people go on that show, and I think it's because we have an addiction to the past. This is why our politicians are aging. Young people don't step up. Stop glamorizing. Look, with all due respect to Bill Maher, I'm not trying to be a dick, but Real Time doesn't have the ratings. It's an old show, but people, it's been around for 20 years. It's the show. I remember it, and they don't realize. When Prager went on that show and said they're putting tampons in the boys' bathroom, Bill Maher said, "Oh, that's for their girlfriends." He said, "No, they're saying men can menstruate." Everybody laughed. That show happened 3 years after the culture war issue about tampons in the men's room. 3 years.
Now, I don't know if what he's saying is true, but if it is true, that is very fucked up. That is very fucked up. I mean, Tampon Tim, you have outdone yourself.
So if you look at the initial reporting from all the prominent
God,
progressive outlets and corporate news outlets on the issue of tampons in the men's room, that happened, I think it was like 2015, and the Prager episode was 2018. Bill Maher didn't even know about a major story that was in all of the press 3 years prior. But people keep going on shows like this. And
The question is, did he not know, or did he not, like, did he just not believe it when it was there and he thought it was a conspiracy, so he didn't pay it any mind? That is really the question, right? Where it's like, you know, you're going to have like Fox, CNN would not be reporting on it, so Fox would report on this, right? It's like, oh, they're putting tampons in men's washrooms, and somebody would run the story of like, oh, that's not true, and somebody would run the stories like it's true, but, you know, it's probably for like nosebleeds or whatever, right? And then it's like, no, it's for, you know, it sounds so absurd to say that they are saying men can menstruate, that it sounds so absurd that it's like you think it's a conspiracy theory. There's been a lot of conspiracy theories lately that have been proven right, you know?
it's because of name and brand recognition. It's brilliant. It's masterful.
Dude, we had a vice president and a nominee or presidential nominee with Tim Walz, who actually put them in his schools and boys, and it was proud of that. And the whole Democratic Party loved that fact.
And
So it's like mainstream on their side.
And
they
now,
like it. They
Bill
weirdos.
Maher was having a conversation with the guy from Pod Save America, and he said the Democrats have to get off this gender issue, and they won't do it.
No way.
Good.
And Bill
Stay
Maher
on
was
it.
like,
Fuck it.
how many voters are you? Remember that bit Bill Maher did? Like, I got to give him respect because he's got a lot of good ones on this. He said Democrats are defending the right of transgender people of color to be in the prison where they, for which they identify their sex. He's like, why are they courting the votes of 432 people? Like, this is such a niche issue. It doesn't affect their voter block in any way. The argument they come up with is because we believe in rights for everybody. And it's like, fine, but that's
But
a
you're
weird
taking away
political
rights.
stance to take where you know you're going to lose and then defend nobody's rights.
Yeah, well, first of all, you believe in rights for everybody except the people who are negatively affected by these rights. Believing in everyone having a right to do something is fine, but the whole point of it is to not impede on other people's rights of the same level, right? You have a freedom of speech, but you don't have the freedom of speech to shut my freedom of speech up, you know? You have the freedom to own a gun, but you don't have the right to use the gun to prevent me from getting a gun. You know, like, you can't use your right to dictate other people's rights. Okay, so by doing this, like, you know, transracial, what's it called, transsex surgery in prison, sending like men who are women to women prison, stuff like that. Like, oh, we just want to respect their rights to be women. And it's like, yes, by doing that, you are literally taking away the rights of the human rights of the women prisoners in those prisons, right? Like, it's just it baffles the mind that like you come to the conclusion it's like, well, we just want to be nice to everyone, but it's like by being nice to everyone, you're being extremely not nice to a whole lot more people. Okay, like it's like, well, but they're the minority, we need to be nicer to them. No, why? That is not a factor that goes into account. If anything, the minority should practically always adhere to the majority, to the majority rule. There is a reason the majority like is the normal one, and the crazies are in the fucking, the asylums. Okay, but now it seems like the crazies are running the fucking asylum, and the doctors are the ones who are like in straight shirts, right? Like, it makes no fucking sense. The what's it called, the crazy people took over the fucking asylum. The Joker's running the Arkham Asylum now. Right, that's literally what happened. Right, and you never let the minority dictate the rule for the majority. Why? Because the majority doesn't agree, and you would care about the lives of the majority, like their quality of life, more so than the quality of life of the minority. It's straight up common sense. Now, if the majority can afford to increase the quality of life of the minority, that is fine, but that is a privilege. That is not a right.
They keep doing it forever. Just keep doing it, Democrats. Don't
I
stop.
mean, maybe that's the real deep state plan. Democrats go insane so that Republicans win, and then Republicans become the single party authoritarian government.
Count me in.
Nope, bad idea. Bad idea.
Well, I guess.
I mean, like,
I'm kidding, though, by the way.
we do live in a leftist milieu, and it is really bad that to try to do anything right of center gets you plastered as a a Nazi or a fascist or whatever.
Yeah.
But if that keeps up, you're going to have more, because right now young people are not afraid of the word fascist anymore. Like Gen Z,
There's a pretty long list of words they're not afraid
Yeah,
of.
and again, like this is like, you go on X, right? And like you're gonna find like a whole lot of people saying a whole lot of, random shit. And you can find like, oh, this guy deserves to die. This guy's a Nazi. Just find the right topic, right? And it's like, bro, it just doesn't mean anything. It's like calling like, people who hate Israel anti-Semites. It doesn't mean anything anymore, unfortunately, because some of them were anti-Semites. Some of them are just like anti-Israel as a country, not so much about like hating Jews, but they're lumped in with the crowd that actually hate the Jew, right? So, and again, same with like, everyone who supports Israel is now suddenly, supporting genocide. And it's like, bro, I believe that Israel has the right to exist. I don't believe that they have the right to blow up kids, but it's like, it is war, It's like, no, they don't have the right to genocide, but they have the right to defend themselves. Well, then you believe in genocide. Well, then genocide doesn't mean anything at this point, right? And nothing means anything, and words have no meaning. And that's why I use the word retard freely, because honestly, it doesn't really mean anything anymore. Retard is literally just like calling somebody an idiot, but you feel like idiot is just not enough, Idiot just it doesn't really hit the spot correctly.
They
that
don't
were
care.
always get you canceled words, and they say them for fun now.
Yeah. They're like,
it's like it's fun. Yeah, I have nephews
Well,
who
it's
are
the new
young
punk
20-year-old
rock,
men.
right? It's the
you're right.
the new punk rock.
here's
to
a
say
dude-
You're right.
Say
You know,
the thing.
it's actually pretty wild. California voted that they literally voted in 2008 that marriage was only valid if it was between a man and a woman.
and the Supreme Court
Of this state,
overruled they
California.
overruled their
democracy.
democracy.
How come? Yeah,
But it was
all
California
this-
Supreme Court. Just to get it right, it's California Supreme Court said that.
Yes.
I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah, yeah, it was the California
Yeah.
Supreme Court. But it's like when Elon Musk gets hired to do Doge, they're like unelected officials, right? But it's never applied evenly. They always just make up the rules as they go. And
I don't hear them crying about unelected officials, about the whole staff of like the Democratic Party who are doing a lot of things behind the scenes, right? Like, there's a lot of unelected officials. And honestly, Elon Musk is probably the closest to an elected official from the group of unelected officials, because everybody knew about Musk before. I'm pretty sure Doge was already a thing before the election. Everybody knew about Ramaswamy and Elon Musk working to create Doge, like a government efficiency agency, before the election actually was before people actually elected. So if anything, Elon's the most elected unelected official. If anything.
And whatever is politically expedient is just what they go with.
So it was in 2024, finally, they repealed Proposition 8.
Oh, good.
Isn't that crazy? It's been so long, but only now they finally got rid of it. Yeah. California was very much like traditional marriage. And at the time, Obama opposed gay marriage, and Hillary Clinton opposed gay marriage in 2016.
Yeah,
The really far left stuff is not popular. It's just not. You see the way that people are reacting to like men and women's bathrooms, the idea that gender's a social construct and it doesn't matter, your sex doesn't matter and you can actually become the other sex. Like all that stuff, normal people reject it totally.
The thing is, well, he's right and wrong, right? But I think he's right, by what he's saying. Vast majority of people don't give a fuck if you want to identify as a helicopter. Okay, you want me to call you a helicopter? I'll call you a helicopter. I don't give a shit. It's your business. Whatever. I'm gonna call you a helicopter for this brief interaction. I'll probably never see you again. I don't give a shit. However, when you identify as a helicopter, feel like it's your duty to park in my apartment for some reason, or just sit on my car because you're a helicopter. That is when it's a problem, because now you're impeding on my shit, right? Now you're inhibiting my rights, okay? That is when it's a problem, okay? No one cares if you're like a woman who says that she's a man and you want to use the man washroom. No one really cares, okay? Because men are the stronger sex. They don't give a shit. If a woman goes to the men's washroom, honestly, most men will just whatever, right? Just take a piss. Who cares, right? However, the opposite is not true. If there's a man dressed as a woman, a lot of women would feel very, very uncomfortable and in danger to an extent. Why? Because men are the more powerful sex, obviously. This is not fucking the rocket science. Everybody knows this. If you're a woman and a random man goes into your washroom, at first you might think it's a misunderstanding, but then it's you hear them claim they're a woman, you're going to be feeling a bit uncomfortable, a bit worried for your safety. Why? Because clearly something is not right with this person, because they can't even accept their own body, right? That is what the normal person thinks. I don't care how much you want to say it's we need to accept them, whatever. We accept them. They can do whatever the fuck they want over there. Not near me, okay? Everyone, can do whatever the fuck they want. People in an asylum who are crazy can do whatever the fuck they want in the asylum, okay? Not near me, okay? Because I don't know what a crazy person might do, okay? And yes, men who think they're women, yes, they are. Okay? Not that they're completely insane, but clearly something is not right. Their brain doesn't identify their body for some reason. They cannot accept the body that they were born in. They have to think that they're something else that they are not. Okay? You can't just grow a uterus out of nothing. Okay? It doesn't happen that way.
People that don't, the only reason they don't is because they're afraid of the consequences.
So you all may have heard.
Yes.
I had a kid recently.
Oh. Did you?
Yeah, apparently nobody knew.
Congratulations.
And I was in the
I didn't even know you were in a relationship.
maternity ward, and was postpartum is what it's called, right? So it's two different. There's labor and postpartum, and not a single instance of gender ideology was anywhere.
Yay!
On the walls, and this is Loudoun County, right? This is the heart of the deep state. On the walls were they had big things saying it's a boy, girl. On the walls in every room, they could write boy or girl.
Aww.
All the forms said boy or girl. There was not an instance anywhere of gender ideology. I asked one of the nurses, I was like, you ever get anybody in here who says don't gender my baby or anything? And they were like, no, never. Not once. And
Nobody's in there calling it their baby.
Nope,
This is my baby.
never.
You didn't
And
have no
what
men.
I was told,
No men gave birth. In
nope.
that place.
They said we never see anything like that, and they were like, I don't know, like I've heard stuff about it, but we've never seen anything like that.
Yeah, because the amount of people who are like that is just, they're non-existent. They're 0.01 or some shit like that of the population. Okay, their issues are not an issue. Like realistically speaking, on the grand, like not even the grand scheme, like the minute scheme of things, their issues are not actual issues. Most people will treat them the way they want to be treated. Don't force it. Don't force how you want to be treated on other people. If somebody doesn't accept you for who you claim to be, move on with your fucking day. There's no need to make a TikTok about. There's no need to go to X and complain about, because all you're doing, you're gathering more crazies. And even if you're not crazy yet and it just offended you, the crazies will look for you, and they will make you a part of them, and you will get radicalized because you are surrounding yourself with people who are fucking mentally insane. I'm not saying everyone who is trans is completely fucking loony, but it is being, I wouldn't even say hijacked, but it is being enforced too strongly by people who their lives is literally this. Okay? Yes, we all get offended sometimes. Shit, I'm an ugly piece of, like, I'm ugly. Okay? When a girl rejects me and says I'm ugly, yeah, it hurts my fucking feelings. I'm not gonna go on Twitter and fucking cry about, oh my god, they think I'm ugly. Ugly acceptance, please. And all the uglies are like, yeah, man, we need to do something about it. Let's not let women call you ugly. That is an abuse of your rights. No, like, that doesn't fucking work that way, okay? Like, she did, like, the person who rejected me didn't hurt me physically, didn't do anything to me, right? Just like I'm not her type. Whatever, I'm ugly to her. I'm ugly to a lot of people. Fuck it. Like, it is what it is. Like, fuck, accept that you're ugly and move on. Accept that you're a man and move on. If you don't want to accept it, then fuck it, whatever. But, like, don't force it on other people. Deal with your own shit in private. Go to a therapist. There's people who get paid very nicely to help you with this problem. Don't throw it on the regular people who have absolutely nothing to do with your issues. Don't force it upon them. Why? Because as soon as you force it upon them, at first they might be like, you know what, maybe we should be more considerate of them. Why? Because people are very nice. Okay, maybe we should be a bit more considerate of them. But you know what happens after a while? You keep asking for more. You keep trying to get a bit more, a little bit more. And you know what? Eventually you get the backlash to the point where we are going all the way back to trying to revert gay marriages. This is how much backlash you are getting now because of like these small things you keep trying to push. And you can call these guys bigots or whatever. Nobody cares anymore. Why? You push them too far. You are asking for too much, and let alone like too quickly. You're asking for too much in too short of a time. Okay? Stop trying to mooch off more more benefits on the expense of other people. People will have enough, and clearly they had enough. Why? Because Trump is president. Okay? And what did he run on? Everything that trans people don't want. Why? Because people are fucking sick of it. We were like, not me personally, but people were very nice before. They were, like, you know what? Yes, we have so many rights. We have such a good life overall. Compared to the rest of the world, life is fantastic. Whatever. We can be generous enough to this minority group that is suffering, and maybe they are suffering, right? Like, mentally, physically, whatever. Maybe there are some. Maybe there's not enough rights for them. We can afford to be lenient and give them a bit more of like the freedoms that we experience, so they feel more accepted, because we are nice people. And then they take advantage of it, and nobody likes to feel like they've been taken advantage of. And then there is taking everything back, everything that even brought you to the point of asking in the first place. You want like more trans education. That's where like you're starting to ask for like more acceptance. That goes out the window now. Gay marriages, listen, this is what started all. Fuck that now too, right? This is all gonna like, you're literally, because of how much you are asking, you are going to regress progression. Progression is gonna regress so much, you're gonna end up with like just like conservative party ruling for the next 20 years until they fuck up so bad because they will start pulling right too much. Okay, this counterbalancing act needs to stay close to the center because most people are centrists. They believe in live and let live, right? If you have conservatives in power, literally like what they said in this podcast, if you have Teamcast, if you have a one-party rule, there's nothing to stop them from starting to move more and more to the right. You think Trump is far right? Bro, Trump is extremely fucking centrist. Okay? He's practically a 90s liberal. Okay? But guess what? The one that will come after him will be a bit more to the right. And the one after him will be a bit more to the right. If the Democrats keep sticking to this point that nobody likes, the majority of people don't like, your government, your country will start shifting more and more to the right. Until eventually the right, like they will go too far, and it happens all the time, and then the left will start pulling. But the problem is like you're never really in the center because you keep getting pulled too much to the right, too much to the left, and like you just have crazy buildup from both sides, right? Like unless like again, if you want to get to civil war, go for it. But again, like I believe the vast majority of people not only don't want civil war, they are not subscribing to either side that like religiously. You have the very vocal minority on both sides. You have the extremely far rights, and the extremely far left. And in my opinion, far left has been controlling the media, the narrative for way too long, and that's why you have backlash to the point where they controlled it so much. The people who didn't give a shit about politics started caring about politics. You pushed so hard, you brought in people who were just living their lives into the battle, right? Same, like, and again, probably one of the best examples. Gamers didn't give a fuck about politics. Okay, when one of the biggest gaming creators is now talking about politics almost religiously, this is how far you have gone with it, right? Asmongold didn't like politics, like he didn't care about politics. He would just review games, whatever. You know what actually made him like really start getting into politics? Because you were shoving the politics into his games. Right, and now you gave him like a little what do you call it, like a little rope from the little well that he lived in. He lived in like a little well full surrounded by games, and you threw in a little rope and you let him climb out of that game sphere into the political sphere. Okay, because you are pushing your agendas way too fucking much.
Like every day, women are coming in and they're having children, and it's just like a normal couple. The woman gives birth. They said it's a boy, and they're like, yay. And then here's what you got to do: go home. But I was told by one of the nurses that in college, the college requires them to learn it all the non-binaries, and then as soon as they get into the practice, it's gone. And I'm like, well, that's for now though. Hopefully, with Trump getting in and these moves, it never actually permeates. But I gotta tell you, it would be nuts if I went in and they were like, do you
if you had like posters
believe
of like
in gender? And I'd be like, why are you asking?
Gender revealed at the age of 16 party.
Yeah.
On the wall.
18.
But that was the joke that I made that I kept insisting to the doctor. He said it was a girl, and I was like, no, they haven't chosen their gender yet. And then
that is reassuring.
Some of my liberal friends got mad, and they were like, that you would use your daughter for the culture war. You can't do that. And I was like,
it's called a fucking joke. Get over it.
I can joke about whatever.
That's a fucking
I can
joke,
and I will. Wow.
Yeah, I'm making a joke, but get out of here.
I love that, like, I guess, like, liberals, whatever, like, but, like, people are, like, they're so sensitive, oh, he can't make fun of his child, this is, child abuse. Meanwhile, they're more than happy to actually cause child abuse to people like, like Ethan and Hila by sending, Child Protected Services. CPS to their house and actually traumatize their kids, have them interrogate them in school, put them on the spotlight that they don't want to be in the spotlight, Yeah, because that is not traumatizing to kids. Being asked if your parents are good or bad is like really something a child really needs to be starting to think about.
Come on.
I mean, the whole question of,
And again, if they are actually abusing them, then yes, fine. But it is, I'm 99.9% sure that they are not abusing their children, okay?
believe in gender. I've said this multiple times on the show. I don't even want to hear the word gender anymore.
Right.
I agree.
It's
Sex.
just sex.
Mhm.
That's all there is. Everything else is just
It means
Noise.
same thing. It means same thing.
Technically,
I
yeah.
reject this, but gender means something. No, stop. Gender and sex mean the same thing. Go away. Thanks for checking out this.
Yeah. By the way, most of it wasn't even about this, but like, yeah, man, like I mean, I think it was always obvious that this is exactly what's happening. I don't find this surprising at all. I'm surprised that there's evidence of this in this form, but like, well, evidence, you know, circumstantial evidence at best. But like, yeah, I mean, it was always the case, you know, you give them an inch, they'll take a mile, yada, yada, yada. Nothing is ever enough, you know, because like when you hear stuff of like, oh, they need to like also pay me to live and stuff like that, then yeah, you know, that's fucking bullshit. Anyways, that's it. See ya.